Live from New York, it's Ask This Engineer.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Pink Haired Engineer Show, starring me, Lady Ada, the Pink Haired Engineer.
You have pink hair.
With me,
so I've heard.
So you heard. With me is Miss Lady Ada, who is dark hair, but you can imagine it's pink. And we're here at the Adafruit Factory, where we do all the design, testing, manufacturing, shipping, kitting, and support of the electronics that you know and love. You got an exciting show for you tonight. It's a lovely summer evening, but we've got all the electronics cooking in here. Let's get right into it. What's on tonight's show?
On tonight's show, the code is X camera. We'll talk about why that's the code later on in the show. It's X camera. Show and tell, people around the world showing and sharing their projects. Video, I'll talk about that. We have a Make Code Minute and some previews of JP's show. Some Python on hardware. New job up on the Adafruit jobs board. 3D printing. Made in New York City, that's factory footage here from Soho, New York City. We got some new products. We're going to answer your questions. We're going to be in the chat all the time here, adafruit.it/Discord. Got some top secret. We're going to give something away, all that and more on, you guessed it,
Dun dun dun.
Ask an Engineer.
Bam.
So we got a bunch of stuff tonight, but we'll get right at it. Don't forget, throughout tonight and probably all the way till maybe tomorrow morning is discount code.
10% off
Get 10%
everything.
off.
Physical in store.
Yeah.
Not gift certificates, not AdaBox subscriptions, and not Code Academy.
Code Academy classes. Those are the only three things. But in addition to this discount that supports us, an independent, venture capital-free, loan-free company that supports all of the cool people that you know in Discord that work with Adafruit and some of the folks you don't know who work behind the scenes here at Adafruit, you get free stuff. So
that's true.
As you check out of the site, it'll say add some more.
I'll tell them all about it.
Yeah.
So at $99 or more, they get a free Proto half-size breadboard. That's a permanent style of solderless half-size breadboards. You take your projects from the solderless board and make them permanent. At $149 or more, we get one of a large selection of different cool embroidered sew-on or iron-on badges, celebrating not selling cookies, but programming languages and robots and running laser cutters and mining bitcoins and all sorts of fun stuff. So you get a different one with each order if you make an account. Otherwise, it's just a random. So make an account. That way we can keep track of which ones we've sent you. Free UPS ground shipping to the continental United States at $199 or more. And at $249 or more, you get a free Circuit Playground, $299 or more, you get a free Circuit Playground Express. It's a premier all-in-one development platform that has LEDs, buttons, switches, sensors, capacitive pads. They can run Arduino, CircuitPython, Code.org, CS Discoveries, Maker Blocks, Teeny Go, CircuitPython. Basically, it's like a whole bunch of different embedded languages, and it's a great platform to get started with because so much stuff is built in. All that and more when you order from the Adafruit shop. And 10% off if you use the code.
And for shipping, UPS Ground US, best reliable, trackable way to get it to you. Postal Service might take a little bit longer, but it's a little lower cost. And then DHL International is usually the way to go.
Okay.
If you're in New York City and it's a zip code on checkout and it's before 11 a.m., you can get same-day delivery right here in New York City. Okay, show and tell. People around the world showing and sharing projects. We had a lot of Adafruit folks and a lot of folks from the community showing and sharing
Yeah.
things. What was on the show and tell this week,
Happy
Lady?
summer. We had a whole bunch of people. So Phil B came by and gave an amazing in-depth history lesson in like 3 minutes of the Speak and Spell. If anyone had these toys from TI, that they had little quizzes on words to spell, and you'd spell them, and then it had a certain accent and a voice, and Phil B talks about that and how they compress the voice, how to remake it using Arduino. So he's been modifying the Talkie library to use the Speak and Spell ROM, and he's just like learning a lot about Speak and Spell. So to watch that if you're interested in the history and design of this iconic toy. JP did a preview of tomorrow's JP's workshop. Last week he did Arkanoid, a Remake the Classics series, where basically how you can remake well-known retro games in MakeCode Arcade. It's a great way to get practice and also learn how to make new games and maybe adapt them to customize to yourself, customize the way you want to yourself. And then this week is going to be Spy Hunter inspired game, so a racing game.
Yeah, we have some previews that we'll show,
We'll show the
right
preview
after
shortly.
the show and tell.
Yep, Noah and Pedro have
Preview.
been working on PyGamer enclosures and crank designs for rotary encoders. So if you want to put a crank on it, they've got print-in-place add-ons that flip out and are usable. And
A lot of people don't know this. Starting in 2020, all handhelds have to have a crank.
it's true.
So if you haven't added a crank to your handheld gaming platform, now is the time to start working on that.
Crank switch.
We don't make the rules, we just follow them.
PlayStation Switch, crank. I don't know. So check that out. They have it up on Thingiverse, but they'll also be doing a video. They did a video today, and maybe they'll be posting up a guide soon on how to DIY cranks. Melissa, who just joined Adafruit full time, it brings her Linux and coding expertise and CircuitPython expertise, is combining all of her great skills into adding more boards to Blinka, which is our CircuitPython library layer for for using CircuitPython libraries on Linux boards and boards with Python 3 support. So she did the Orange Pi R1 this week. It's a little low-cost all-winter Linux board, and it now is supported within Blinka. So check out circuitpython.org/Blinka as new boards get added.
CircuitPython.org/Blinka. Also, and that has 4 or 5 boards now, and then CircuitPython.org/downloads. We're almost up to 60 boards.
Yeah, those are the embedded boards.
All of the CircuitPython libraries work, so like
Both.
the 156 plus or 157 or I forgot what we're up to, but it's 150
150 plus,
150
yeah.
plus. All of those work with Linux, which is usually the hardest thing to do.
Yep, so now you can, these libraries that we only have to code once, they now work across every platform,
Yeah.
both embedded and microcomputer.
And also, if you know Melissa in Discord and on GitHub, that's probably where you've seen some of Melissa's work. Welcome aboard. Melissa's working with us at Adafruit to hopefully get a lot of this Linuxy tough stuff.
She's also great with
easier.
displays. She's going to
Yeah,
help
so-
update more display support for all these CircuitPython boards.
Yep.
Super cool.
So we're excited about that. Welcome aboard, Melissa.
Yay.
Okay.
Scott came by. He's working on Dirty Rectangle support for CircuitPython Display I/O, but also is looking at Keyboard I/O. Now that's not a module in CircuitPython. Sounds like it though. It's a split keyboard kit that uses open source microcontroller code, and he wants to hack it to use CircuitPython. So he's thinking about how to do that. Brian came by with some NeoPixel U's and L's. Little pieces that he's designing that snap apart that let you make custom NeoPixel shapes. So that'll be handy for people. And Zen came from community and went to the local Goodwill and got one of those plastic hula bras and decked it out with Gemma M0 and capacitive touch nipples and NeoPixel rings It's super cool, and it has a little happy face that displays on it. And they're going to be going out to various events during the summer, and they said they can get super drunk and not worry about getting lost in the woods. Maybe, I don't know. Fun stuff when you get stuff from Goodwill and you add electronics. Orlando showed off an opto-isolator that he designed for his class, students that are designing ECG. He wants to introduce safety isolation, which is really important in medical devices. And it's important to think about safety first when designing this stuff, not try to add it in later. I think even today I was told somebody to read the famous Therac 25 paper because they were really interested in the Max 787. And I was just like, yeah, safety engineering you can't do it last. You have to think about it all the time. So mega props for the ISO Bunny, which will hopefully make sure that the next generation of bioelectrical engineers keep us all in good health and don't make us hurt worse after we get tested with these devices. And then JMK got a Garmin that his mom didn't need anymore and is hacking it. He figured out, he uses HTML files, and he figured out how to sideload those, and now he's got it displaying Adafruit logos and
kind
websites.
of making his own Kindle, Garmin Kindle. Yeah, it's
no, it's cool because you can load wherever, and he's going to be
Yeah.
doing more hacking of this device. So it's neat. Now he doesn't have internet because it's just a GPS, but what can you have it display? Kind of makes me think of you can make a little Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, right? A little pocket
The
device.
cool thing, a lot of makers and people who come on the show and tell think this way, but also JMK in particular, just looking at something, looking at it in a different way, as in, what can I do with it besides its intended purpose? How can I hack it? Where can I go to find the open source drivers? How can I make it do something that I want it to do? Cool.
Cool stuff. That was Chantel.
Okay. All participants on the show and tell get an as seen on the show and tell sticker. Email support@adafruit.com if you're on the show. Part of our Adafruit Live series of shows, JP's workshop is coming up tomorrow, and lots of MakeCode stuff going on, lots of MakeCode Arcade stuff going on. Here is 3 previews of what JP is showing or has shown, and then we're going to do a MakeCode Minute. So the first one, this is Arachnoid, I think?
This is the Arkanoid remake. So how to make a kind of a breakout type game, but it's cool because it looks just like Arkanoid and it's way easier. You know, I've been playing Arkanoid, it's really hard.
Yeah. And then
It's way
this
better.
is a slightly longer video. This has more.
It is. Beep, beep, beep. So I think one of the things that's really nice is JP shows how to add, the nice graphics, the sound effects to really make the game more than just a basic breakout. It sounds and looks great to play.
And then this is the beginning of, we're doing a lot of, here's some classic games you might remember, and then here's how to make them on your own. And with MakeCode Arcade, I mentioned this on the show and tell, but with the way that we like to do video games and the way that Microsoft MakeCode Arcade likes to do video games, it seems, you could see the source code. So that means all the things, if you remember viewing source code on HTML pages, and a lot of us learned about the internet that way and how to make stuff, you can now do that with retro games and video games.
Yeah,
so I think
this
that's
is the
really
thing.
cool.
A lot of games, one of the things that was really cool about the Pico 8, which was inspiring for MakeCode Arcade clearly, is that the code was within it. It wasn't encrypted or obfuscated. Actually, there's a famous paper by 4AM, that's their name, 4AM, about how they cracked the Apple II Burger Time game. Which is really funny because nobody really, it's when they were designing these games, people were copying Apple II games a lot, and so there was 15 billion levels of copy protection. And so you couldn't, you could learn about copy protection, but you couldn't learn about how to write a game because it was all so hidden.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have been able to learn how to code without open source. And I think one of the things about games is a lot of people don't release, a lot of games, they're closed. There isn't a huge culture of open source gaming. So I think to teach people how, there's a lot of here's how to move a sprite. Okay, now like Unity and like, 3D modeling and like make your game. There's no in between.
Yeah.
And I think Make Code Arcade fits in that nice middle where you have a little bit of gaming logic without getting bogged down in unending C++isms. So
Yeah.
it has a very nice
I think
intermediate
it's
coding space.
I think the way that we're approaching gaming, and I think Make Code Arcade does this too, is it's very inclusive. It's like we want everyone to come along, and we're looking at the cool tricks we're doing. It's more like skateboarding versus
Yeah.
secrets. It's more like, oh, like that's a neat trick. I'm going to learn from that trick, and then I'm going to do a trick plus that, and then
Yeah.
I'm going to share how I did that. So I think that's kind of the neat thing about this next round of handhelds that are coming out. Some of them you can learn from, some you can't. So most of our community are the ones that want to make and share. There's other ones like, of course, if you just want like a, giant title that, has a multi-million-dollar budget, you're probably not going to see the source code.
Yeah.
But you do have other options that you can make and share video games.
I think so. I think this is going to be cool. People passing around Make Code carts.
Yeah. All right. So let's do a Make Code Minute.
Make Code Minute away.
What I want to talk about in Make Code Arcade is how to bounce a projectile or an object around your scene. It is this simple. So you'll see in my scene here, I just have an on-start block. I'm creating it could be a character, it could be anything, a projectile, food, enemy. They actually will all work in this case. So I'm just creating my sprite, and it's this pink sort of circle. And then I'm using from the sprites drop-down, we have a bunch of these effects in the drop-down for this one block. So if you grab one of these, stay in screen, you can then change the drop-down. So I'm using 3 of them. They're all from the same one? Yes. So the first one is keeping my object in the screen, so it's not gonna leave. That one may actually not be necessary in this case, because the next one I've got is bounce on walls, and you can turn these on and off. The next is show physics, and that's just going to turn on some values for me of the position and the velocity on X and the velocity on Y. And then the last thing I'm doing is I'm giving my sprite a velocity to begin with, and that means that it's kind of an impulse when the scene starts, when the code runs, when this on start block goes. It's going to send this sprite at 50 units positive on X and positive on Y. So it'll go diagonally and to the bottom right based on our coordinate system. So here we go. I'm going to turn this on, and let's open this up. And you can see that is how easy it is to get an object bouncing. Now you can then end up controlling some of these parameters, like adjusting the impulse of that velocity, or changing the direction of it using the controller, like a regular player control. And we're going to use this as the foundation of some games. You can imagine this is pretty convenient if you're doing things like Pong, or something we're going to look at in a little bit, which is Arkanoid. So bouncing stuff, pretty darned easy to get started with using just these simple blocks here. And that is how you can make something bounce inside of Make Code Arcade.
Okay, and that is the Make Code Minute. We do these every single week. Tune in to JP's show tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and you'll not only be able to see these things, but you'll learn about these things, and then you can share and make your own. You don't even need any of the hardware. You can just use...
I love the simulator.
I
write all my games and stuff in the simulator, the stuff that I have done. Very quick iteration. Even the accelerometer works. You can like tilt it. It's super fun. And then when you're ready to test it on hardware, you drag and drop.
All right, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit.
Whoa.
Someone in the chat, Tammy Makes Things,
Okay.
says, so exciting to see the momentum behind CircuitPython. I'm working on a couple CircuitPython projects right now, and I'm also trying to figure out how to get involved and contribute. Well, Tammy, I'm not saying we did this segment just for you, but we kind of, we have this
It's now time for the Tammy segment.
We have, this is the news that we do every single week in the world of Python on hardware, including CircuitPython. We have this as a video snippet on our YouTube channel. We have our newsletter that's on adafruitdaily.com. No spam, separate website.
Yeah.
Wanted to make sure it's super clear.
Super safe.
Never going to spam you. Never going to sell you out. Never going to give away your information.
Never
It's
going to let you
important.
down. Never going to turn around
And
and
so,
desert.
so
Yeah.
all the things with Python on hardware, you can check out the newsletter. There's circuitpython.org, and you can click news, and you get all the blog posts.
There's the awesome list. There's Discord.
There's github.com/adafruit/circuit python dash awesome. Or is it, wait, awesome circuit, awesome dash circuit python.
Right.
So those are all the different places, but right now,
It's time for the Circuit Python video.
yeah. Okay, so coming up August 8th, 2019 is Circuit Python Day.
8.
Yeah.
The snakiest of days.
Every week in our Circuit Python community chat, which is 2 p.m. on Monday, we're going to have more information about Circuit Python Day. But if you're interested, hang out in the Circuit Python channel, check out the newsletter, check out our blog posts. We'll have all sorts of things people can do around the world. I already got an email from someone who runs user groups in India, and they want to do
Ooh.
a Circuit Python meetup in India, and they want to know if we'd send out some stuff. Absolutely.
Yes.
So that is
Stickers and posters
that is coming
galore.
up very soon. We get some photos of some of the rapid manufacturing we're doing to keep up with demand of Pi badges.
So much Pi Gamer,
and
so much Pi
Gamer.
Badge.
Yep. And that's what we're working on right now. We're trying to get out as many of these as possible. One of the things that I had mentioned before is this new roundup of, or this new trend of lots of different handhelds. So this was from Pixelland.
Yeah.
And this is a screenshot of a blog post. They posted up about 20-something devices that are coming out.
I mean, the chips are getting
Pi Badge
so
and Pi
smart.
Gamer made the list.
The chips are getting so fast and the displays are getting so cheap. It's never been a better time. If you want to create an open source gaming handheld,
Yeah.
go for it. Because you can run Python on them. You can now run eLua. You can run, Arduino. You can run MakeCode Arcade. It's a great time.
Yeah. And we're really happy that ours is using open source hardware, software, and people will be able to learn from the games. Over on learn.adafruit.com, if you're interested in Microsoft Azure and CircuitPython, you can learn all about it and how to make this plant monitor and figure out how much moisture is in your plant.
It's also a really good demo for sending and receiving data over Azure. It's a very
Yeah.
popular.
We didn't want to have the boring demo where it's like, hi, data, hi, got data.
Yeah,
this
this
is
is-
useful. It's temperature and moisture level, and you can send it to and from
Yep.
different devices.
Speaking of,
Yeah, we
Internet
have,
stuff?
this is the Airlift Wi-Fi Featherwing coprocessor. So
works with CircuitPython.
add Wi-Fi to almost any microcontroller.
And it's working out really well. I mean, like, it's adding this, you just plug it in, use it with your Feather M4, or you
Yeah.
can use it on a breadboard, and people are liking the Airlift, and our library is really solid for it.
Okay, some odds and ends that is in the world of Python and hardware and the CircuitPython community. This is from Cedar Grove. Cedar Grove is working on a UFO screen test that happens to run CircuitPython for this out-of-the-world lighting. You can see the custom front panel from the Adafruit tutorial that we linked to as well on how to make this UFO come to life. This is kind of neat. We've seen a lot of these wire sculptures, and this one is a CircuitPython based one. This
Oh,
is a
cute.
7-segment character clock, a desk clock built from a few Adafruit boards and brass rods, and it's on Hackaday right now.
Yes, the freeform wiring is beautiful.
Next up, Les made a really fantastic name badge. So in addition to it having Les's name, you could see this is a QR code
Yeah.
that's on it, and then you get all this information. So that was made with PyPortal. Lots of people like doing name badges. We've been seeing these. This is from
Oh,
Marlene.
cute.
Yeah, Marlene made this. So many fun things to do with CircuitPython. I'm getting around to doing stuff. Not going to wait for a conference to wear this, by the way. Python hardware. That's
This
one of
is
the hashtags.
Melissa's guide.
Yep.
So Marlene and Melissa, I like how Marlene made it purple. You can change the background color, and
Yep.
she likes purple. Pick your favorite color.
Yeah. This is kind of neat. We have a guide, and I think this is really, really big news. If you're in the Python world, you probably know about this, but using Python on Windows 10. So Windows 10, it's even easier to run Python now. All you have to do is install it with the May 2019 Windows 10 update, and you can get Python 3.7 on your computer.
My favorite is that, if they're going to come with Python, it comes with Python 3. You can install
Yeah.
2, but it kind of does 3,
Yeah.
and so they're looking forward to the future, not back to the past.
Yeah, I like that it's soon on lots of different operating systems. It'll ask you what you want to install, and Python 3 would be the ideal.
Yes.
Okay, there's a cool guide if you're interested in the UF2 bootloader and creating custom boards.
Maybe you want your own, you wanted the UF2 bootloader, we give it for SAMD21, SAMD51, NRF52840. It's a great bootloader. It's fully open source. It supports both UART, CDC, and mass storage bootloading styles. Please use it. Please adapt it. Please port it to other microcontrollers. We would love to see, I think there's STM32 as well, but we'd love to see it for any chip that has USB native.
All right, if you're familiar with, this is a CircuitPython board add-on. This is the Mini
a
SAM.
squid. What's going on
Yeah, it's
here?
the Mini SAM adapter. It plugs into the back of the Mini SAM boards. The holes are for,
Oh, for little characters.
yeah, so, and it might be called a backpack, but
Yeah.
Also it could be a wingsuit.
Exoskeleton.
Yep. All right, next up. In the world of MicroPython, so right now, MicroPython version number, let me
think
make
it's
sure.
11?
It's 1.11.
Yeah.
Improve MIPI support. That's the frozen modules.
MPI, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if people say MIPI or
MIPI is MIPI, which is the
yeah.
which is the
What
graphical
do
format.
people say for MPY? Do they say
MPI.
MPY?
MPI, yeah.
Support for native code, new JavaScript port, and there's a roadmap for 1.1 to 2.0.
Which includes SAMD support.
We
Very
back this.
exciting.
One of the trends that we saw, and this is why I included this in here, is these badges and a lot of new dev boards, if not all of them, are now supporting Python on hardware in some way. So this is a DEF CON badge, and what does it support? MicroPython. So we're seeing a lot of hardware projects that don't have to have the overhead of a giant toolchain. You can just use something like MicroPython, CircuitPython, or whatever Python on hardware that you end up using, and you don't have to have anything other than a text editor. Really.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. And that is all the Python on hardware news this week.
Yay! All the news that's fit to WEPL.
Yeah. So that was for you, Tammy.
Thanks. This was the Tammy segment.
Yeah. Okay. Next up. Open source hardware.
We do that here.
We do it. We also, I have a little bit
We
of an
live
update.
it.
I have an update. So last week we showed the video of you using an Arduino, much like we use CircuitPython now.
Yeah.
You plugged in an Arduino and it showed up like a disk drive. That was freaky. And then you dragged animated GIFs over and then it just ran on the device.
Well, but yeah, but what if this demo was fake? Like, what if it's not possible for anybody else to use this code? Would you think that's possible?
No, they can.
Okay.
And we know for sure because we just did a blog post about this. So you know that the Zork thing that we had posted
Yeah,
about these
Z
games?
machines, yeah.
So now I think the person's name is Dan. They were able to use the tiny USB code, so now they can drag and drop these games right onto the Itsy Bitsy.
Wow.
So that's cool.
So it's that other people are able to use this code and add USB mass storage, drag and drop file support to
Yeah.
their projects.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And probably tonight or tomorrow, you'll see a blog post from Mike Barella about the assistive technology world. And Bill Binko from AT Makers just posted up an 11-minute long video of why this is so important for people in the assistive technology community, where they can just send over UF2s, they can just drag and drop files, configuration files. So this is working out better than we expected.
Well, there's actually a lot of projects because, for example, we were just talking a couple days ago, there are a lot of people who want to build these LED graduation caps. I mean, graduation just occurred, but for next year. And it's actually really hard. Like, how do you get a GIF file? Do you encode it as a header and then you compile it in? It gets like really complicated really fast, and how to include resources into your Arduino projects. But if you have mass storage, you can just have it appear as a file that gets read and
Yeah.
parsed. And so, we wanted to do a graduation cap project, but until now, actually, it was too difficult to teach people how to do it. So we didn't want to have a guide that people struggled with. But now we're thinking, hey, wait a minute, maybe we can just have them drag a GIF on and it'll display the GIF on their graduation cap, and that's the project that they want to build.
Yeah, and one of the intersections is we're getting so used to CircuitPython on all the things we do, we kind of don't want to go back. It's like if I need to have a music file or an image file or configuration file, I don't want to open up an IDE. Why can't I just drag it over there? So TinyUSB does that for
And that's all
for other microcontrollers.
Taka, who is an engineer here at
Yeah.
Adafruit and has been working on TinyUSB for years and added this to Arduino
Yeah.
very recently, has just done an amazing job. It is so wonderful to use.
And we've if you're on the Arduino developer list and you see our notes on this, hit reply and say, hey, like we'd like to see this. UF2 bootloader we'd like to see added to Arduino.
TinyUSB support.
TinyUSB.
More TinyUSB for other chips. Again, it's the only open USB peripheral and host stack that I've
Yeah.
seen that supports many chips. It's totally open. It already has support for all of these things, and we made it so you could add new chips, and we've added new chips, so we know it's possible.
Yeah.
It's got STM32 support, F4, LPC, NXP chips, SAMD, Nordic, but more chips are wanted. Please add them, because I want to end this tragedy of every project that uses USB has to use a custom vendor semi-open stack that's like, it's open but not really, and you can't really use it, and they don't let you port it, and it's just so frustrating. It's like the last thing that is not fully flexible for embedded development.
Okay, we have 1,876 tutorials. Lady Ada, what's on the big board this week?
Well, we've got, I did a new guide. Last week we did how to play and compile Arduino games for Arcada, and this week it's playing Gambuino Meta games. And the Gambuino Meta is actually a SAMD21 based handheld with 1-inch screens. It's actually almost identical to the PyGamer and PyBadge. So actually, and they used Adafruit libraries for the display. So actually, wasn't too bad to add SAMD51 support. So try it out. I tried out Picomon and Meta Tetris, and they played great, and they're wonderful. And it's pick up a Gambuino as well. They're beautiful handhelds, but if you'd also like to play some of those games, which are sometimes ports from other games, you can try them out on the PyGamer or PyBadge. Just have a simple but effective guide from Mike B on how to install and use Python on Windows 10 using that built-in app native support,
Yeah.
which is something we just talked about. So it's really cool. It's easier than ever now to install Python, and I think it'll even get updated with the app. So it's like, it's true support, not a separate install. Very exciting. So it's got first-class support. We've got another remake code, the classics, from JP. This time it's Arkanoid. We just showed the video earlier.
We showed this before.
Using the same glyphs and how to do ball physics. A breakout game is a really good early game, but we wanted to spice it up a little bit, make it look really cool. And from Richard Alberton, we have a superhero power gauntlet. Never have too many of these people. Love to build them. This one is 3D printed, so it's really nice articulated hand. NeoPixels, of course, for the power gauntlet, and sound effects, as well as a motion sensor. So as you move around, it has different effects. Those are the guides this week.
Okay, yeah, we'll be up to 2,000 by the end of the year.
For sure.
Okay, next up. Help wanted. Adafruit Jobs Board, jobs.adafruit.com. You can post your skills if you're looking for a job, or if you're a company or a person or an entity that's looking for people to work with you, you can post it up there too. This is a web developer designer who's familiar with Arduino and ESP32 development. It's remote. This is for a tracker-based product. It's a first IoT 3D printing filament manager, tracker, and runout detector. They're a small operation getting off the ground right now, and they're looking for help with the web UI and ESP32 server development and design. Contract position,
Right.
and you can check that out.
You love 3D printers? You love electronics? You love writing code? You love
Yeah.
getting paid? We got something for you.
And we might post up, we have some openings at Adafruit. We might use our own jobs board for this, but I'll go ahead and mention, if you're in the New York area, we do a lot of remote work, but this one is an in-house role. If you know PHP, and you love doing PHP, and you want to work on PHP and work at Adafruit,
And electronics.
drop me a line, PT at Adafruit. We're a cool, chill company that has no loans of venture capital, and you have a good life if you're a
Really
dev.
good work-life balance.
Yeah.
Really good. We do
And,
not.
we're
have
good cause and a good
startup
business.
flexibility without the startup workload.
So we're looking for PHP. A lot of our shopping cart and a lot of our things runs PHP. You worked on.
It's my fault.
It's you worked
At
on.
the time, there was only really a few open source
Yeah.
web carts, and
We-
ZenCart
Yeah, we start with ZenCart.
was what we started with. It's been rewritten and refactored to
Yeah.
of course, perform as we expect, and we have some Rails as well, some in parts of our website. So let us know what Stacks, and we can probably fit you in. But PHP is one of the things that definitely you'll have to interface with.
Yep. Okay, made in New York City, factory footage. Take it away, Adafruit Factory.
Zoom, zoom.
And it wouldn't be a main New York City factory footage segment without a time lapse
A beautiful sunset.
from outside the windows of Adafruit where the picking places fall
Ooh.
asleep to and wake up.
Wait, so that was a sunset and a sunrise.
Isn't that nice?
And then it goes right back into another
Yeah.
sunset. This is a full day, 24 hours for the picking place.
Yep. Okay, 3D printing. We have 2 videos this week. On pager. One is our PyGamer video, and then we have a sped up, so we're going to play those back to back. See you on the other side.
Take it away.
Hey, what's up folks? In this video we're taking a look at the Adafruit PyGamer. This is Adafruit's handheld dev board that can run CircuitPython, Arduino, or Microsoft's MakeCode Arcade. It's a pretty small device packed with all sorts of hardware. It's built for creative development and it's fully open source. It's designed for beginners just getting started, as well as experienced programmers. On the front are 5 NeoPixel LEDs for animations and effects. There's an analog thumbstick, plus 4 user buttons to keep it simple. It's got 1.8-inch TFT color screen for displaying retro graphics. It's got Feather-compatible headers, so it works with Adafruit Featherwings. 8 MB of storage, as well as an SD card slot for extra storage. Small but powerful speaker and stereo headphone jack. It's all powered by the ATSAM-D51, running at 120 MHz with 512K of flash and 192K of RAM. You can program and upload code via USB and recharge the LiPo battery. With Arduino support, you can write C++ directly for the hardware. It's great for running fast code like an NES emulator. So you can play ROMs and enjoy the classics. You can also use Arduino gaming platforms such as GameBuino and ArduBoy. If you're a game developer, you can experiment with different platforms. So whichever platform you like, it's really easy to switch between them. PyGamer brings all of these together in one device so you can play lots of different games. MakeCode Arcade is the easiest way ever to program games. All you need is a web browser. The built-in drag and drop code blocks make game development fun and easy. It's got a sprite editor with collision detection, particles, and hardware controls. You can use it for prototyping games or as a tool for teaching students. With CircuitPython, you can program hardware using Python code. The code is interpreted right on the Pygamer. It's a great high-level language with a fast dev cycle. Adafruit's libraries have support and drivers so you can program all sorts of sensors. The docs have everything you need to get started. Use demo code and project examples to get up and running. Links are in the description. Adafruit's Pygamer features lots of pins and ports, so get creative and make some crazy projects.
And don't forget, you can learn how to make all this stuff and more on 3D Hangouts every single Wednesday. No, Pedro. I gotta mention this. So AdaBox, we're about to ship mid-June. So that means
Soon.
you have a little bit of time.
Little bit of time.
So we only have a little bit of subscriptions left.
Very few.
So
We are going to run out, guaranteed.
for sure, we have, I think, less than 100 slots open. So that's why I've not been saying, hey, everybody sign up for AdaBoxes. What I didn't want to have happen is people immediately, like, because it takes a couple days, like, oh yeah, I have to remember when I get home tonight to like sign up for AdaBox.
Yeah.
So today's the day where I start doing that though, starting now.
If you want one,
If you want one, you can probably guess what it has something to do with.
but it's got good stuff
It has
in it.
really good stuff.
Believe
and-
me, this is going to be really good.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good AdaBox. And we have a little video. So we're gonna
Okay.
play a little video.
Play a little video.
No Post-it notes were harmed in the making of that video.
I know. We got a cool pack of all these
So,
different.
anywho,
Yes.
please go to adabox.com and sign up because we'll run out really fast, and this one's going to be.
There's always people who email us and say,
Yeah.
hey, can you just like slip me in?
No.
But really, we've already
Yeah.
ordered and packed all the boxes. So we don't have any left over afterwards. It's
Pretty
like
much
whatever we got.
Okay. Before we go on to new products, X camera. That's code. Really?
All right. New, 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 new. It's time for new products.
Okay.
Yeah.
First up.
Stick to engineering. All right, we've got these little speakers. I really like these oval speakers. We had them in the longer cable, and now they just come in a shorter cable. They're about a watt. They're 8 ohms. We have a couple products now that have a Molex, a 1 millimeter pitch connector. I can't remember the exact name of the connector off the top of my head. It's in the product, but It mates really nicely with them, and it clicks in. It's solid connection, and if one of our products has this connector, like I think the Prop Maker wing has it, the Halo wing has it, the Pi Portal has it, the Pi Badge has it. This little speakers has a shorter wire, so it's the same speaker with the sticky tape, but shorter.
I sense a theme.
Also a shorter wire version. It's actually kind of for the Pi Badge, to be honest, because for the I'll even have a Pi Badge and I'll show it off. We have these small batteries. They're 350 and 420 milliamp hours a piece, and they fit very nicely on the back of our Pi Badges or Pi Gamers.
We have two types.
Yes, two sizes. It kind of depends which one you want. One's a little bit more expensive, one's a little bit smaller. And I'll show both the speaker and battery on the Pi Badge. So you've got your Pi Badge here, and you're like, hey, I want a battery, and see this like slot here? Well, this fits really nicely in there, so you can plug this in like so. And then you have double-sided sticky tape. And then you've got your, well, my sticky tape is not sticky anymore, but you can tape it in place, and then you can play. This is a Gamebrino metagame, but you can have that, and now you see no wires. And then you're like, well, what if I want a louder speaker? That's when you would get this little mini speaker right here, and you see this got that Molex connector here. You plug it in. It's always kind of fun to do live. And then you can remove this tape on the back. There's tape on both sides, so you can use either. And then you can just stick it right over the oval. And there you go. So now you've got portable with speaker gaming. So
That's
you're
cool.
good to go. Oh no, a wild piggy appears. So we got, this is the 420, and then I'll show, it's like exactly the right size, and then the 350 is just a little bit shorter. So this one fits a little bit better in the Pi Gamer, and this one is a little bit larger, fits on the back of the Pi Badge.
Okay.
Okay, biggie.
Next up.
Horns. So this is really cool. Kind of an obvious. Someone actually emailed and said, hey, I like your servos, but the problem is I glued the servo horns onto my projects and my robots, and then I have to buy a whole new servo, or like if I run out of horns. So this is a horn kit for our standard and micro servos, and it's just the plastic bits. And so you can recycle the expensive motor part and just, or if you lose the horns, you can just replace them with these, or you can permanently attach them without having to worry about like, oh no, I ran out of horns, because it only comes with a couple. So we have them for standard and micro servo.
Okay. Next up.
Okay, we got these inserts. These are really nice lathed brass inserts for plastic. They're kind of what the people like the most for if you are 3D printing and you want to heat set these inserts. We have the heat set inserts themselves, as well as the tip that goes into a soldering iron. And here is a lovely demo showing you heat up the iron, and then you melt it in, and then when it cools off, if you look at the insert detail on the next image, you see those little grooves, those like lock in and keep it from twisting in place. So these are very fancy. You get a pack of 50. There's 3 millimeter tall and 4 millimeter tall, so pick whichever one you want.
Okay.
Both are M3.
Next up.
More servo accessories. We've got everything for servo. So this is a micro servo to Lego cross piece adapter, which I think is kind of handy. So one thing that you notice if you do Lego stuff is there isn't really there's a motor, but I don't think there's a servo item. So if you want to use low cost micro servos, you can do so, and I can show that off on the overhead, super easy. You get this micro servo, it works best with this SG92. You can also use it with the Metal Gear, but it can slide out. It fits, but it doesn't press fit. So you'd have to use a screw to attach it. So we recommend the SG92. And then you get this cross hole here that fits standard Lego cross pieces of any size and shape. You fit that in, and then now your servo can twist a gear. So maybe handy for making your Lego projects mechatronic. You can control this with a CircuitPython, a microcontroller, Raspberry Pi, whatever, and you don't have to worry about how to glue or attach the cross piece or just to the horn or something. It's a very elegant way of connecting the two. So that's the adapter.
All right, next up, and while the code was X-Camera, this is why. This
Ooh.
is why the code was X-Camera.
Yes, these are some lovely driver boards from X-Camera, whose design is like really great hardware. These are very affordable and very powerful. I kind of think of them as a graphical bus pirate. A lot of people like the bus pirate.
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're specialized, but they're really good at what they do. So this is the I2C one. So one thing that's cool is the I2C driver board itself doesn't have a lot of brains to it. It can run the display and it can take commands over the USB port. So you actually shows up the serial port and use Python to control it. So there is a computer attached to it, and then you can do commands like I2C scanning, or start a write, or end a write, or send or receive data. So for example here, this is a demo of me, I think, sending data to I2C address 10 hex. So you can see the 10 is highlighted on the display, and it shows the stop, the yellow stop circle, as well as hex data and which direction it's moving in, and then actually shows you the waveform on the bottom. You connect up to 3 items to it. And then
Another one.
there's another one, the matching one, the SPI driver, which can control a single SPI device. Similar, you use Python to control it. And I actually have the live demo, and I'll show it because it's kind of fun. And one of the examples is controlling these 1.8-inch TFT displays over SPI. So if you want to do very fast iteration development of Python without having to have hardware controlled, hardware connected up and worry about like, can I see the data coming on from the MISO line, or is the chip select actually toggling, and how much current is drawn? This is a very handy tool. So I can show the live demo of the SPI driver. So I have my laptop.
How do you want to do this?
I'm gonna have it like this. No,
Over the
Yeah, sorry.
overhead?
I just picked it up. So this is the the SPI driver, and yeah, you have to wire up the power and ground and the SPI pins. Now connect this to the computer, and then on my computer I have a Python script I'm going to run. So it comes up like this. It just says nothing's happening. And then I'm going to run the script that will connect over the serial port and upload an image to the ST7735. And you see, as it's transmitting data, you can see all the bytes going back, going by. And look at how it's so beautiful. You can see the chip select and the AB, which is the reset and DC lines going back and forth. And over here you can see Grace Hopper. So let's try doing this with the display vision. So you can see it's drawing it live. So very handy tool, very powerful. Really like this. I think there's definitely something to be said about test equipment, having the right test tools. So I think if you don't want you want something graphical, you want something like a Bus Pirate, but maybe not as expensive as a Sele. They're also amazing, but sometimes out of people's budgets. These are like $20-$30. And they're super great for I2C and SPI, and really clearly designed by someone who uses these chips all the time. So all the things they thought of are there, and that's new products.
Okay, ready for a recap?
Let's recap it. New. We have our 8 ohm 1 watt speaker with a Molex connector, now with a short cable. We also have 350 and 420 milliamp hour LiPo batteries, also with short cables. These are both great for Pi Badge and Pi Gamer. You don't want long cables hanging around. They're very compact. We have just the servo horns for standard size servos and micro servos. So if you want to glue or machine your servo horns, you don't have to worry about like where you're going to get another set. You can just pick up another set for a couple bucks. We have these heat set inserts that go with the heat set insert tip that we put in the store a week or two ago. We have them in M3 thread size and 3 millimeter or 4 millimeter long. 3D print parts with the right holes. You heat set these in, and then you have a good, strong mechanical connection where you're not biting into the plastic. You actually have metallic threads to thread into. More servo accessories. This one converts a micro servo to a Lego cross beam, so you can add servos to your mechatronic robotics Lego projects. And from X-Camera, we have both the I2C driver and the SPI driver. These are like kind of like a graphical bus pirate. They're great for debugging and sending data to and from I2C and SPI devices controlled via Python or GUI. They're very powerful, and they're wonderful for debugging and bringing up new hardware. That was the new products. New.
Okay. Don't forget the code is XCamera all the way up to 11:59 p.m. tonight, or when I remember.
Get 10% off those XCamera boards.
Let's do some top secret.
Okay. Put this SPI driver away.
From the Adafruit Vault, we have two things. I'll show the first one.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we have three things, sorry. So this is just another update on our Adafruit AR app. Trevor's been working on this. Colin's helping out. And when you show Circuit Playground Express or many other boards, this recognizes the board live.
Yeah, like it actually sees it and knows what you're holding up, which is so cool.
Yeah, it does really good recognition. And then you'll be able to see these overlays and learn about what the Circuit Playground Express can do. And then here you go. It's like, hey, look, that's Adafruit's pipe.
And look at how impressive it is, because there's circuitry in the background. Yeah. It's being held up. There's a lot of stuff going on, but it recognizes the device. It does a very good job.
So check out our apps on iTunes. And this is one of the many things that we're adding. You can also scan in QR codes and assembly. You also get AdaBot to hang out with you. We have a lot of cool things going on with apps.
Neat stuff.
We posted this up on Discord.
What is it? I don't know.
What is this, Lady Ada? What is it?
I don't know. I don't tell people. I want people to guess. What do you think this is? There's been some good guesses. Somebody thought it was a Stargate. Good guess.
Circuit Gate.
Circuit
Stargate.
Circuit Stargate.
Circuit Starground.
All right. Well, post up your thoughts and ideas. I actually kind of like to see what people think it is too.
You had a physical. It's not out yet.
Yeah. So, well, first off, I want to show off. This is the sand demo with very, the video that we had very chunky pixels, but we also have a demo with like these fine pixels.
That's nice.
And it's just kind of fascinating. This is TEF. This is 4,000 pixels, and it's all doing the collision detecting. But very beautiful and colorful. So thanks to Phil B for the pixel dust code. It was really easy to port. And then I thought, PyGamer, once you get into the console wars, you got to up your game. So after the PyGamer, I thought, well, let's do the PyGamer Advance. So the PyGamer Advance is it's actually almost the same, which is funny. I found this 2-inch screen that's 320 by 240, but it's not that much larger. It's only 2 inches. So it's it's a little bit longer because of the ratio, but the hardware is pretty much identical. It has a J20 instead of a J19, so it's a megabyte of flash and 256K of RAM, so it's a little bit bigger. And what's cool is the screen looks really good, and you can play, the NES emulator can run pixel perfect because it actually has 320 by 240, and NES was 240 by 256. So you can actually have pixel perfect games running. So you can see if I can. Super Mario Brothers 3 doesn't load, but you can see the intro screen. So I thought it was kind of fun to try upgrading the hardware.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there you go. Looking good.
Back in the vault.
All right, back in the vault with you.
Okay. Well, it's time to answer some questions. A couple of them are lined up, so I'll ask those. Please go over to adafruit.it/Discord. That's where we can answer all the questions. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. The first question is, on the X cameras, do they have a scroll back on the display, or is the data stream back to the Python?
I think it goes back to the Python code. So if you want, it can output data, and you can, of course, query for the command. I think the display is really good for, as you send if you send one byte at a time, you can see the data as it's coming in or out. So it's basically like you don't have to set up your logic analyzer. But no, there's no scrolling that I could see. There's no UI on the actual device.
All right, next up, how does the I2C and SPI X camera devices deal with 5 volt versus 3.3 volt logic breakouts?
I think they support both. But I don't want to, I know that the power rails, they have both I2C, both 3 volt and 5 volt. I believe the logic is 3.3, but maybe it's 5 volt safe. That I don't know 100%. You'll have to check the X camera site because all our stuff has level shifting on it. So I never have to worry about it.
Okay. Maybe you can address this one that was kind of asked earlier, but I think it's good to go over. If someone does want to start getting into contributing to CircuitPython, what are the best ways they can do it?
The best way to do it is actually show up on Mondays to our CircuitPython weekly meeting, where you can introduce yourself and talk about what you want to do. And it's basically a time when everybody was
In
working
Discord?
in Discord.
Yeah.
That's Mondays. It's a voice chat, but sometimes you can just listen in and type. You don't have to speak if you don't want to. And that's a good place to get introduced to people and say what you want to do or what you're interested in. And everybody's going to be around, so it's really a good time to get feedback.
Okay. Well, we have the Raspberry Pi keyboard back in stock soon.
Everything's always on order whenever we get them.
Yeah.
We put them in.
Next up, the X-Camera site said 5-volt tolerant, so.
Yeah, that
good
makes
enough.
sense.
Okay. Let me see if there's any other questions lurking about before we go on to the giveaway. In there. And let's see. Well, I can answer this one. When will the Pi Gamer be back in stock? That's another one.
Well, you saw we're making them as best we can.
We're making these around the clock. So here they are being hot out of the oven and then being tested. So we're making these as fast as possible.
They'll be in stock
There's a lot of
soon.
demand for these right now.
Promise.
Yeah. Okay. Let me check one last round of places. Which channel do we hold the CircuitPython chat?
CircuitPython.
Under topics, CircuitPython. Yeah. Okay.
That's easy.
All right. Let's give away something. What do you
Yeah.
want to give away?
Well, I thought we'd give away one of the I2C drivers, or SPI drivers. You choose.
Okay.
Whoever wins gets to choose their favorite protocol.
Choose your favorite protocol. Okay. What are the rules?
The rules are the first person to call the phone number and answer the 3 magical questions will win the prize. Only one winner per my lifetime. So if you've won something, go get a sandwich, have a cup of tea. That's the phone number. So call that. I'm going to ask you your name and where you're calling. Oh, sorry. When you call, I'm going to say ahoy, ahoy, so you know it's me. And then I'm going to ask you your name, where you're calling from, and a project you're working on or you want to work on. And you also have to tell me whether you want the I2C driver or the SPI driver. So there's a bonus question.
right.
And if you don't know, I'm just going to pick one. So
Okay.
you don't want me to pick one. So
Okay. And
You-
then
you
this
decide.
is the phone here.
call that number
And
on this phone.
Yeah.
We'll get this sand demo. Sand.
That's the phone number. And they just had to not win before.
Yeah,
And then
And
they
then-
can win.
I'm going to play Prince of Persia while we wait.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the phone's not ringing yet.
Not yet. Well, there's always a little bit of a delay.
I know.
And they could win one. So this is the phone number. And they could win either this one
Yeah, you want this stuff. It's good stuff.
or
This
this
is
one.
plugged in, I think.
That one. And that one. And you just got to call.
Just got to call. These are great boards. You want them. $30 value. Oh, good. Good. Phone ringing. Phone. Ring. Got a phone. Okay, I'm going to pick it up.
All right.
Ahoy, ahoy. Ahoy, ahoy. What's your name and where you calling from?
My name is Aaron Wilcoxon from Emmaus, Pennsylvania.
Okay, well, amazing. Well, congratulations, Eric from Pennsylvania. You're the winner of a fabulous driver board. Now, you got to answer which one you want, I2C or SPI.
I2C.
Great. See, that's the right choice.
Which one is that?
That is the first one. Yeah. So all you have to do is email support@adafruit.com and say, hey, it's Eric from Pennsylvania, and I want a product number 4267. And
4267?
yeah, just email support@adafruit and give them the details, and they'll know it's you because it's you, and they'll send you out one of these boards. So congratulations on winning. What's a project you're working on or you want to work on?
I'm finishing up a ukulele that I made at the local Fab Lab, and gonna try to be working on a electronic handbell.
Okay. Wow. Well, musical projects, ahoy. Come on by Show and
Yeah.
Tell once you finish your projects, and we'd love to see them. Thank you for calling in, and have a great night.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Take
Bye,
care.
Eric. All right. Good work.
All right. Well, that's our show for tonight, Lady Anna.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep. We'll see everybody next week. Special thanks to all of our Adafruit team members. Takara's in the behind-the-scenes Slack
Thank
chat.
you,
Takara.
T.
Also, all of our Adafruit team members here, all of our remote team members. Again, welcome, Melissa. adding more people to our Adafruit remote team. Also,
Thanks,
don't for-
Tammy.
Yeah, well, Tammy asked some great questions.
Good.
Tammy's going to join the Circuit Python chat.
This is how we get them.
Yeah. If anyone wants to live and work in New York, like I said, we have that PHP job opening here at Adafruit.
You can come hang out with me all the time.
Yeah, you can.
It's always fun.
It's a big draw. That's part of the thing. Get to hang out with Lady.
You do.
And some of these puppets.
Yes.
Puppets.
All the free electronics you can eat.
Special thanks to all of our community that makes all this go. Here's the code. Don't forget.
10% off everything except virtual stuff.
Yep.
If it's physical, if we put it in a box and ship it to you,
Yeah.
then 10% off.
Okay, we'll see everybody next week.
This is your pink-haired lady engineer signing off.
Yeah. This is your moment of Zener.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.